All right, and Mentor Minutes is live. Now, I got some questions and I thought I'd clarify why is it that I'm doing these sessions and why do I do them almost every single day? And it isn't just to be able to answer questions from leaders out there that might have an obstacle or a challenge, and hey, that's great, don't get me wrong. But a part of it is actually getting practice. If you want to get better at anything, whether it's a physical activity or whether it's a mental activity, you need to put in the practice. You need to read the books. You need to go to the gym. You need to put in the time to get better at anything. And leadership is no different. Now, you can get practice through your own mistakes, through your own successes, or you can also invest some time in other people's challenges, in their successes, how they got there, what they're dealing with, that sort of thing. And that's really what these Mentor Minute sessions are about. They are about a time and a chance for you to exercise that leadership mind. So even if you don't have a question or a struggle, you can listen to these episodes and kind of think through some of the applications to the answers and to some of the struggles in your own life. It does your situation will probably not perfectly match up with the question that's being asked at the particular moment, but there's probably correlations to something that's going on in your leadership position. So tune into these sessions, subscribe to the podcast. I'll have the links on here. Check them out on YouTube. Check them out here on Facebook as well. And you can hopefully get a little bit better, get a little bit more practice without some of the pain, perhaps, of your own experience and your own failures with it. So as we have people jumping on here, I do want to mention that if you're coming to this episode late, Dave, good to see you here. If you're coming to this episode late and you have a question, you have an obstacle, you have a struggle, you can always drop down in the comments. I check the comments from prior episodes to see if there's anything that I need to lead off with. And if you want to keep yourself anonymous, you can always email me or direct message me and I will keep you anonymous. And that's actually how I got the first couple of questions that I want to deal with today as we queue up some people here on the live session over on Facebook here. The first question is a great one. Individual who's looking to move into a new position in their company, looking to move up, and they want to ask the executive team, the people that are interviewing them, some good questions in regards to ownership. Basically, am I going to get this role and then you're going to look over my shoulder all the time? Or am I going to have some ownership and some flexibility and some freedom to do things the way that I want? RM, so good to see you here. First time viewer, very nice. I hope you enjoy it. And Sharon, good to see you here. Vermont sounds very nice. 100 degrees. We're going to have thunderstorms here in Vegas. Vermont sounds delightful right now. So what you want to do is, and it's important when you're going through an interview, it is important for anybody out there to ask good questions of the people that are interviewing you. Ask about the position, and this is a great one. And what you want to do is you want to flip that question that everybody hates getting. Can you tell me about a time? And you just match up the behaviors that you're looking for that. Can you tell me about a time when the person in this position made a decision that was wrong, but you allowed them the freedom to be able to make that decision and you acknowledge that it was okay for them to do that? Can you tell me about a time where an individual took freedom and didn't ask for permission when they should have, and what was your reaction to that? So you use that, can you tell me about a time? And so whatever it is that you are concerned about in the job, whatever is important to you, Nancy, Leona, so good to see you here. Whatever is important to you in the job, ask them those questions. And usually when you're in an interview, you only want to ask probably 3 questions of your employer. And so whatever those priorities are, can you tell me about a time when somebody asked for vacation time and you said no to them if you don't want to get turned down for vacation? And so you get a feel for it that way. So get creative with the way that you phrase the questions of your employer, but definitely find out some information. Next question I have is, and I really like this particular question, the situation, a supervisor has retired. And so this individual is taking over for this particular supervisor, and it's a team of 25 people. But this supervisor probably retired on the job a couple of years ago. The people aren't following policies. They're not following procedures. They're not meeting expectations. So this individual is taking over a team that is struggling / failing, whatever you want to call it, not up to snuff. And the question is, how do I start turning them around? When you are looking to turn anything around in an organization, especially with people who have been doing it a certain way or not the way that they're supposed to for a number of years, You want to start small and obvious. So take the procedure that is most obvious that they need to follow, something safety related, for instance, something small, and institute that. And then what you do is you keep moving up to things that are a little bit larger and a little bit less obvious, little less gray area. And so you can get to sales expectations, perhaps, I want to say last, but maybe it's in the latter part, because people say, well, because of my shift, I can't meet those sales goals, or because of this, I can't. There's all of those struggles. You want to start out with those few struggles as possible. Start turning them around, let them see the success, build some momentum behind your leadership, and take it from there. This is a process. When you're turning around people who have not been following policies, procedures, not meeting expectations for many months, if not many years, it takes a while to turn it around. It's like a super tanker. So don't come in and, hey, this is the letter of the law. That doesn't work. That creates more resistance with the team. So go ahead and start small and build from there. That's a great way to do it. The other way to do it, when you take over a new team, and for those that have listened many times to these, they'll be familiar with these questions. If you take over a new team, it is always good to start a dialogue with the team. And you do that with my 5 favorite questions. What do you see going right in the operation? What do you see going wrong in the operation? Where are there opportunities we need to take advantage of? Where are there problems we need to fix? And how can I help you do a better job? I almost guarantee you ask these 25 people those questions, and they will tell you what you should be addressing first. And they will acknowledge that they haven't been following policies and procedures, and they haven't been meeting those expectations. And what that does is that makes your road easier for turning it around, because when you start turning it around, you'll have a bunch of people that mentioned this before, and they take more ownership and more buy-in of that. And that's what can turn things around dramatically, and dramatically more quickly for you. And Nancy hits the point there really good, and that is listen and learn. Those are the things that are going to help you more than anything else. Listening and learning. And so I'm actually kind of caught up here. I got one more comment to make. So if you have any questions, any struggles, any challenges that you're looking at this upcoming week that you'd like to run by, go ahead, drop down into the comment section. I'm happy to answer those, and I'll answer those pretty much in real time here. And Nancy and I had a kind of side conversation. I'll go ahead and share it just a little bit. And that is, when you talk about listening, and when you talk about motivation, and when you talk about engagement, the hack for that is questions, because you create a dialogue. So it isn't about you coming in as the leader and saying, hey, I know how we're going to do it. We're going to do it this way. It's about bringing the team in and creating that dialogue. What do you think we should do? We're looking to turn around sales. What do you think we should do to turn around sales? Bring the team in. Try to create that engagement. Now, what happens a lot of times is you will ask those questions. You will ask for that engagement, and you get crickets. And you can be persistent with it, and say, well, you've got to have something. I know that we ran into an issue yesterday. Well, Nancy, what contributed to your fantastic sales yesterday versus the poor sales today? What contributed to one versus the other? So you can kind of dive in a little, but a lot of times it's going to take, in the settings, doing that 2-3 times until they realize, okay, Cameron's not going to shut up about us giving him ideas on how to fix everything and doing his job. So let's go ahead and just give him some of the answers. And that's what starts the ball rolling. All right, so bring them in. Linda, so good to see you here. Bring them into the discussion when you can, and that's going to be something that helps out down the road. The other thing that has come up before, and that is talking about recruitment and how not to scare off trainees. So recruitment and training are I want to say two parts of the same coin, just a little bit. So when you talk recruitment, when you're looking to hire people into a job, I want the job to be a little bit scary as far as the job description is concerned. Nova Scotia, Linda, so good to see you here from Canada. I want it to be a little bit scary, and the reason I want that to be scary is I want the right kinds of applicants. Now, I've hired for many entry-level jobs before. I posted up on Monster.com, on CareerBuilder.com, and I get 150 different resumes. And of those 150, all I end up interviewing is maybe 10 to 15 of those, because the other ones are just a complete waste. One way to cut down on that 150 is to make the job as descriptive as possible, but also put in what your expectations for the job are. It isn't that the person is going to be upselling and upselling on sales orders. It is that they are expected to upsell on 10% of overall sales orders. So you get specific and you make the job sound a little tough, because what you want is you want the people that are interested in being challenged. And you don't want to bother with the people there's like, oh man, if they're putting in this much stuff as far as what I'm going to be held accountable for, I don't want the job. You don't even want to bother interviewing with those. So one of the big tips with recruitment is make sure the job description is attractive, all right? But also don't be afraid to magnify the scope of, I won't say magnify the scope of it, but magnify the importance of it a little bit, just so you scare off the bad applicants. That can be something that's really enormously helpful. Leona, I'm so glad that you like the advice there. The other thing in regards to scaring off trainees. So first, you're getting the right people in there. But scaring off trainees is indicative of you not giving them enough of the plan, and then you not starting off with fulfilling your end of that plan. So first of all, you want to let them know what they're in for. Here are the 2 weeks. Here's how it lays out day by day, hour by hour. This is what you're going to be doing. Let them know that you are organized, because if they know that you have a plan, that's something that gives them a level of security. It cuts down on that fear of the unknown. And that can be something that, that really alleviates some of that concern. The other thing is, this is a challenge for you to make sure that you are giving them the right information. Hey, I'm all for letting them know that this is going to be a challenging job, this is going to be difficult, but let them know with that, here are the tools that we give you to meet that challenge. You have this checklist, you have this template, you're going to meet with these people who are going to give you some of the tools that you need. You're going to let them know what you're giving them to meet those challenges. What happens in some cases, and where you see a lot of turnover in training departments, is it's generally disorganized, and there's a focus on what the challenge is going to be, getting people ready for that challenge that they're going to be facing, kind of building up that motivation, but no follow-up as far as what the tools are going to be. So now I've got this fear of the unknown. Now that you've heightened that fear by challenging me a little bit more, but yet I have no idea how you're going to help me meet those challenges. And so that can be something that addresses it in a lot of cases. So get clear on what the plan is. Go ahead, let them know it's challenging, but let them know the tools that they're going to be learning to meet those challenges. All right. The other thing that you can do, if that doesn't work for you, is take one of the more recent successful trainees and let the team know what their successes and what their failures are, what they wish they had paid more attention to in the training. Give them a face to some of those concerns as well. That can be helpful as well. What happens out of all of this is that you end up learning. So as the training manager, sit in on all of these discussions, and you will start learning and you will start understanding what some of those challenges are, and that's going to help make the training better overall. So I'm going to tackle Nancy's question here, but I am caught up on questions. So any questions, concerns, issues that you're facing, stuff with employees, any employee behaviors you'd like to ask about, I'm happy to tackle those kind of thorny issues. Drop them down in the comments and I'll get to them next here. I don't necessarily have, Nancy comments here, I don't necessarily have a lot of interaction with my manager's boss. How can I begin to engage him in the work my team is doing? My manager shares our success with him, but we don't have much direct contact. What I might recommend, especially if your manager is sharing those successes, is ask if you can present those successes to your manager's boss just 5 minutes. Hey, the next time you and your boss have a one-on-one meeting, would it be possible for me to just kind of share what's going on in my department for just 5 minutes? And you want to be crisp on that. So just those 5 minutes. But if you want something, and this goes for everybody out there, if you want something from your boss, ask for it, right? Now you can ask for it in any number of ways. You can be blunt about it. You can try to tie it, Nancy, to something that is valuable to your boss. So I don't know what that might be in this particular case. It can be simply a matter of, hey, that way they don't always come to you to figure out what's going on in the department. They can come to me and then I can let you know. That's a little bit dicey, but you can kind of figure out if there's a whiffum in it for your boss on there. But ask for that 5 minutes. The other thing is asking your boss if it's okay for you to send an update to their boss. It might be that you email an update to them with reporting, with figures. The other trick that I've used, and this may or may not play for you with this, Nancy, is one of the tricks people ask, how do I get the executives to notice my success? Maybe they don't even notice. You're at least ahead of that. Eslam, I'm doing great over here. Thanks for tuning in. One of the tricks that I've used is actually to track the performance, track the metrics, and put them up in my department, preferably right at the entrance to my department. I used the example earlier this week, and I'm going to keep using it because it was kind of cute, and that is charts. Visual charts, especially ones that are trending in a particular direction, are like catnip for executives. They will pop by, they will look at it, they will ask you about it, they will ask what you're doing about it. So put up a big chart. It's good to track performance from a team perspective. It gives them feedback. It lets your boss know that you're on top of things and that you're addressing things and things are improving in your department. So it gives you those sort of accolades, but it does create conversations with executives who wouldn't normally engage with you. Put those charts up in a very obvious place and you'll be shocked how quickly people will start asking you about that. If I could CC is boss of my progress on task I am doing. And that's fantastic, Linda. I love the fact that you've done that already. If you want something, ask for it. Be respectful. If you're looking to skip levels, things can get a little bit dicey depending on your relationship with your boss, how secure they are in their job. So be mindful of that. Look to CC them in, hey, can I CC your boss when I update you? That way you don't have to do it. Give a reasoning for it. And you can say, hey, I'd like more interaction with your boss to be able to let them know what I'm thinking. I know that you have a say in whether I get promoted, but I know that you will pass that by them as well, and I'd like to get to know them if I want to move up in the organization. Those are things that can be hugely helpful for you as you look to move forward. Another comment, again, any questions, drop them down in the comments. I'll tackle them pretty much in real time. Next question is a tough one here, and it's one that I didn't get to before, and it's what is the best way to organize time and prioritize for employees? And also, how to make them go for it. So what is the best way to organize time and prioritize for employees? And I'm glad you're looking to play it back, Leona. And anybody out there, you can always look at the replay of this. It's on Facebook. I've got it on YouTube. I've got it on my podcast as well. So if there's anything that you missed, you can always go back and reference these sessions. But if you're looking to prioritize and organize the time for your employees, those are both kind of the same thing, FYI, is prioritizing, and it's talking about it. So first of all, talk about what is most important in the organization. Is it customer service? Is it sales? Is it efficiency? Is it orders shipped? What is the priority? And you might say, well, they're all important. Great, I know they're all important. Now, which one's more important? If you could only have one of them today, what would it be? And so which one's more important? So stack rank those. Let them know. Talk about it. The other thing to do, and I want to get you out of prioritizing for your team. It's real simple. You can if you want to prioritize and organize, you can start stepping into the micromanager game just a little bit, asking people what they're working on. The more convenient way of doing this is scrum meetings or stand-up meetings at the beginning of the day. Hey, what is everybody working on today? And you can kind of discuss it and prioritize and make adjustments where necessary. But I really would prefer that you get out of that as much as possible and you empower the team to make decisions and make the priorities for themselves. And so you talk about the main goals. What are the things that we are focused on as a department? And you make sure they're clear on those. But you also give the why behind all of the tasks that you give them. Why is it important? Why does it need to be done by a certain time? Who's going to see it? Where is it going to be used? Give some more color and some more details behind the assignments that you give your team, and they will be able to prioritize those better themselves. One of the reasons that you don't get back the material as quickly as you want to or in the order that you want to is because you haven't been clear on where it fits in and why it's important. So if you let them know that the reason you're giving them this is because the board of directors is going to see it on Friday, bam, they understand a deadline, they understand the context of it, and they understand where that fits into their other work. And so they will prioritize and organize the time themselves. And that can be something that is hugely beneficial to you. Yes, There are methods. Daily meetings are probably the best one that I would go to. Stand-up meetings in the morning where you can discuss what everybody's working on. You can set priorities there. But your best bet and the best way to do this is make sure that they're clear on the priorities of the department. They're clear on the reason you gave them a particular task and why it's important. That way they can prioritize themselves and you can get out of that game and stay focused on bigger things. Eslam's got a question, and it's what can you do if the situation inside your team is not the best and you want to get out of this or that hassle as you are doing good individual but overall team not that good? Not good. So manager communication changes. You know, if you're a part of a team that is, you know, failing, for lack of a better term, what I look at this is instead of looking to separate yourself from the team, Eslam, what I'm going to challenge you to do, and it's not probably the advice that you want to hear, but I want you to look at this as an opportunity. When you are a part of a team that is failing, it is a chance for you to be that, I want to say, bright, shining light. I'll get a little bit cheesy with it here. But if everybody around you is darkness and failing and not healthy and not supportive and not doing well, it means that your light of good leadership, of good performance, of good stewardship is going to shine that much brighter. I look at that as an opportunity for you to get some experience lifting up team members. Where can you make those improvements? What I'll put on you is look for the person that shows the most opportunity for improvement. Take the easiest, take the simplest one first. All right, that's how you're going to build your team and start turning things around. Not necessarily by tackling the toughest person, the person that's the worst drag on the team. Take the person that's best, that's closest to being really good, and see what you can do to lift them up. Then take the next person, and then the next person, and see what you can do. Get the quick wins, get the easy wins, build some momentum around so people see it, and slowly but surely that can turn around. That would be my challenge to you. If the communication isn't good, then ask the questions of your boss. Ask the questions of your team members. Hey, Cameron, I'll play the part of your boss. Cameron mentioned this to me, but he didn't really fill it all out. Did you hear anything? Ask somebody else, did you hear anything? A lot of times the boss gives the whole story, but they slice it up into 6 different pieces of the pie, and you just have to put those pieces together. That can be a way of tackling it. But look for the opportunities that you can to improve the communication and improve the team. It's a good exercise and good leadership practice for you in moving on to the next level. It will come up in interviews. You know, where have you struggled as far as a team environment is concerned? Talk to me about these. What did you do about it? And you'll have some examples. So I'd look at that as an opportunity. You can always look for lateral moves. All right. You can always look to, you know, set some things in place. Maybe that's what you do, is you look to try to standardize some things. If it's a communication issue, try to set up a weekly meeting with your manager where the team gets together. You propose that. If you want something, ask for it. That'll be the theme for today's session. So ask for a weekly team meeting. Ask for an email update. Put the update together yourself and ask them for approval, or just to CC them when you send it out if they have any comments. Look for your opportunities to develop your leadership skills, be that bright shining light for your team, and see how you can start bringing them over. Slowly but surely, start with the easy stuff and then grow into the more difficult stuff down the road. That's my advice for you, Eslam. I wish you the best of luck. Those are always tough situations to be in. Nancy's has a follow-up here, and it's, can you please share your thoughts on letting team members to work from home? While some are getting to the work done, I feel the others are taking advantage of it. I'm a big fan of a flexible work schedule, quite frankly. I think, you know, giving people the opportunity, even if it's just once a week, to work from home is a great way to help alleviate that work-life balance, and you'd be surprised what you can get out of them. The real situation here, we are a very service-oriented department for others to help them through their projects. You know, it's a question when you have a remote workforce. It's a question of more communication, Nancy. So if you have somebody that's working from home, you need to be having those regular ad hoc conversations. It isn't an email. Move it up the communication ladder. So instead of emailing them, give them a call. See what's going on. See what they need help with. Have a video conference with them. Do that. Up that communication as much as possible. That will give them the feeling that you're supporting them more. The other thing is to get real with the metrics and what you're looking for. So it may be, it's simple from, say a call center standpoint. You can see how many calls they have, how many, how long those calls were, how much time they're spending on the phone, how much they're converting. All of those things are good. And you need to make sure that they know that you're paying attention to that. If you're in more of a service for other projects, it may be a morning email. This is what I'm looking to accomplish today. Maybe you have it together, upping that communication where you do a video conference call where everybody is on video, preferably. You could do it over the phone too, just a voice conference call. But anytime when you have remote workers, the more that you can have face-to-face communication, the better that communication is going to be. So ask them, what are you going to do? And then you can assess it, and then you can see whether they accomplished what they are looking to do. That gives you the chance to gauge that work and gauge the quality of it at the end and whether they're fulfilling it. That's a great way of holding them accountable, and I hope that helps out. Let me know how it works. I know you will. And if it doesn't, then we can kind of talk through some other things. I'm always willing to kind of double back to some of these issues. If something doesn't work, bring it back to me and we'll see if we can come up with something else for you here. All right, I'm going to go into my closing spiel. So you got about 10 seconds. If you have a question, comment, concern, confession, drop it down into the comment section. Leslie, glad to see you here, and I hope you check out the rest of it if you missed some of it. Anybody, if you missed some of this episode, you can always rewind it. You can always subscribe to my podcast and listen to it. That's a great way of getting some found time on your commute into work, on your commute away from work, and just some practice. Again, as I talked about at the beginning, this is all about practice and exercise for your leadership skills. Not all of these things won't apply to you necessarily, but this is a great way of getting kind of your mind working and creating those little synapse connections in your brain. Eslam has one last question for us here. Scheduled for a specific time each day. Well, Nancy, I'll tackle yours. Generally, I try to do these live sessions between 11 a.m. and 1 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, but depending on meetings and commitments that I might have with private coaching clients or corporate clients, that sort of thing, it bounces around just a little bit, so I create that flexibility. I tried to actually set a schedule for it, and it became a little bit too cumbersome, believe it or not. Just scheduling a couple of extra meetings became a little bit cumbersome, so generally it's in that window. But thanks for asking about that. Eslam says, I want to start to study something related to business management. I recommend picking up a book or two, Eslam, to start getting yourself thinking about it a little bit more. You will notice in my videos here, or you can check it out on YouTube, every Friday or Thursday, if I have a commitment on Friday, I'm reviewing one leadership book every single week and just discussing it and how it applies to frontline managers and how you might apply some of the concepts, principles, and thoughts in it to your daily work. I might recommend a great place to start are those videos and those books. So it starts out with peaks and valleys. It goes to extreme ownership. I did Radical Candor this last Friday. Those are all fantastic books to start with. But listen to those sessions and see which one sparks your mind, and pick up the book and start going with that. I really think it's, and I'm not trying to toot my own horn here, but I very much like it. If I didn't like it, I wouldn't do it. But I like the way I'm taking that and making it kind of practical as much as possible. So taking the theory, taking the principles of leadership, I think those are all great, but then balancing that with my 20 plus years of management experience and trying to make it practical for everybody out there. Julie, you're way too kind to me. I appreciate that. Thank you for the kind words there. All right, everybody, I'm going to sign off. If you have any other questions, drop them into the comments. I'll tackle them tomorrow, or instant message me on Facebook, or cm@cameronmorsey.com for email. Happy to take those questions there, and I'll get them on the next episode. Take care. Name the book to start with. Go ahead and start with Extreme Ownership. It's by Jocko Willink. That's one of my favorites that has come out over the last couple of years. Extreme Ownership by Jocko Willink. I know you'll like it. It's a fantastic book, Eslam, and gets you ready to be a leader in the right way. That's why I like it so much. All right, everybody, you take care out there, and I will talk to you later. Bye-bye.